Okay, stand by.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, a very chilly Tuesday. We will begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I call the Administrative Matters meeting to order, and we are here this morning, and I was going to start public comment, but first I'll make introductions. I'm Kristen Stevens, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. With me are my fellow commissioners, John Kafalis and Jody Shattuck McNally, who's the Chair Pro Tem of the board. We also have our county manager with us this morning, Lorenda Volker. From our Public Affairs Office, we have two people, Michelle Bird and Tom Clayton, and from the clerk's office, we have Deirdre O'Neill. So welcome, everyone. And we will begin with public comment. We have one person signed up, Ed Bean. We'll let you come up, Ed. You'll have 3 minutes, and then we'll open it up to anyone else who wants to give public comment.
Good morning, Commissioners. Haven't seen you all for a while. My name is Ed Bean, and I live in Fort Collins. I'm speaking on behalf of the Larimer Alliance for Health, Safety, and the Environment, as well as for the Fort Collins Sustainability Group, 350 Northern Colorado, and members of the Climate Justice Ministry of Foothills Unitarian Universalist Church. We have presented to you a letter asking that Larimer County apply for a grant from the state of Colorado's Air Quality Enterprise to establish a comprehensive air quality monitoring station such as those operated by Boulder Air for other jurisdictions along the Front Range. It is no news that we in northern Colorado have some of the worst air quality as evaluated by the Environmental Protection Agency and the American Lung Association. Traffic and other industrial sources are part of that, but as a regional issue, the greatest contributor of ozone precursors remains oil and gas industry operations. We don't have that many operating sites in Larimer County, relatively speaking, but we are downwind of the massive extraction enterprises in Weld County and the greater Denver-Julesburg Basin. Current local monitoring efforts may continue to document our poor air quality, but they are extremely site-specific and they do not compile their findings in real time. Over the years, we have frequently suggested to this body that more comprehensive monitoring is necessary. A system such as that offered by Boulder Air operates 24/7, and their results are posted to their websites within 15 minutes. They also offer the kind of analysis that lets the compiled data serve as evidence for necessary enforcement by state regulatory agencies, if not also helping us file our own grievances over poor practices elsewhere. Moreover, this technology can be useful in analyzing other emissions, including the periodic occurrence of large smoke plumes from wildfires within and without our region. The expense of initially establishing such a monitoring system has served as a deterrent to doing so in the past. The AQE grant presents an opportunity to get such efforts off the ground, to have a realistic understanding of what is actually in our air, and to prompt more proactive and effective regulation and corrective measures. We urge the Board of County Commissioners to direct our Department of Health and Environment to pursue this grant. I will leave you with hard copies of our letter, along with some signatures that were gathered over the weekend at Foothills Unitarian. Thank you for this opportunity to speak and for your attention to this matter. And I'll just hand all these copies off to the clerk here. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. Anyone else would like to give public comment in the audience? Okay, seeing no hands raised. Michelle, do we have anyone who was a call-in for public comment?
We don't have any call-ins, Commissioner.
Okay, wonderful. Then we will end public comment for the morning. I'll bring it back to the commissioners. Any commissioners want to give any thoughts on that? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Ed and team and community who have contacted us over the weekend and emailed us, and I have read through all of those, and certainly we will take this back and discuss it, and we appreciate your ever diligent vigilance on these opportunities and any avenue that we can to work together to combat our air quality and help Larimer progress towards a cleaner air space for us all. And I appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cavalos, any words? Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ed and other folks. When we received the email from the Larimer Alliance and some of the other groups I think it was on Friday, I know that our public health director was CC'd on that email. I actually forwarded him the email to see if I could get some information from him prior to, this public comment period. Haven't heard. I suspect he's listening, and so we'll, as Commissioner said, we'll follow up with Tom. And also, I'm looking at I appreciate the links that were in that email, and I did look at them over the weekend, and I'm looking at the 2-page project description from the CSU that received a $1.375 million grant. And we are working, I understand that we're working closely with the CSU folks regarding the efforts this summer of 2025, to really understand the precursors to the ozone problem, and so that's happening. But we need to find out whether or not we should apply for the grant, because I think that's the ask. And also, I'm interested to find out. My understanding is that the Boulder commissioners ended the use of the Boulder Air program, and I think Longmont is still using it. So I'd like to better understand all of that. But your points are well taken. Want to better understand about the current air quality monitoring systems that we have. I think one of your points was about being very site-specific, and I know that a lot of people are interested in better understanding the sources and where some of that might be coming from the other side of the highway, for example. So thank you. I think it's helpful. That's all I have to say. We'll follow up for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have much to add to that. Thank you, Ed, for being here. We had evaluated the Boulder Air System previously, and you're right. I mean, part of the reason that we didn't go with that was cost, and so it's great that there's grants available. But I do think we need a more thorough analysis to decide, how we want to move forward. And there is that summer program that should be really effective in kind of for us to gather information on where the sources are coming from. I would also encourage folks to attend the RAC meeting. So I'm a RAC board member, Regional Air Quality Commission. We're doing a lot of work we're preparing our state implementation plan to lower ground level ozone. There's some new development or strategies to work on air, including venting and blowdowns, which is part of the oil and gas extraction process. And Air Quality Commission is also doing some work. So in addition to looking at mobile source emissions, indirect source emissions, requiring, landscape equipment to be electrified, working on, other industries that are sources like the chemical industry. So there's a lot of things in play. So I would encourage people to attend those regional air quality commissions. Let me look at see when the next one is, because I think it's very valuable to understand some of the work that's not only being done to capture the emissions and try to source those emissions, but to really address what the problems are. The next REC board meeting, they're open to the public, and they're online February 7th at 9:30, from 9:30 to 12. If you want to email me, I can get you information on how to log into those meetings. But I think that would be really valuable for you to understand some of the conversations that are happening statewide and regionally around this issue. So I invite you to attend those. Because I think that there's some really important work being done at the Regional Air Quality Commission. So with that, I will leave it at that. More to come, and thank you for your advocacy. And
Mention one more
yeah,
thing.
go ahead,
I
Commissioner.
neglected to mention that I shared this information with the vice chair of our Environmental and Science Advisory Board, Roger Ames, and he reminded me that I think at our March ESAB meeting, we'll have an update from this. we'll invite the CSU folks, so there'll be an update on our air quality monitoring program, as well as I think we're going to have the people that are listed on the project, from CSU come and give us an update as well. I think that's the March meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, we will move on. Thank you again for being here and for your advocacy and for everyone who sent us emails, because we did receive a lot of emails on the same topic this weekend. So we will move on to our next item, which is approval of the minutes. I'll ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to make a motion to approve last week's minutes.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes from the week of January 13th, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. We will move on to our next item, which is our upcoming schedule review, and I believe Michelle Bird will be helping us with that.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is your draft schedule for January 27th through February 1st of 2025. On Monday, January 27th at 9 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Joint Behavioral Health Consumer Advisory Committee and Technical Advisory Committee. This is a hybrid meeting. Those in person will be at 2260 West Trilby Road. At 10 a.m., you'll have a work session for a quarterly update on the 2024-2028 strategic plan. At 1:30, you'll have a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources. At 3 p.m., you'll have land use items with the Development Review Team. That is a hybrid meeting. And then at 4 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Larimer County Sheriff's Office Annual Awards Ceremony at Timberline Church. On Tuesday, January 28th at 9 a.m., you will have Administrative Matters, which is this meeting in this room at 9 a.m., followed by Legal Matters with the County Attorney. At 1:30 p.m., you will have Legislative Direction with Shane Atkinson, the Legislative Coordinator, followed by Administrative Direction to County Management. At 6 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Overland Mountain Bike Association Appreciation Party at the Agave Room. On Wednesday, January 29th at 9 a.m., you'll have a Commissioner Retreat at the Horsetooth Area Information Center. At 4:30 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Counties and Commissioners Acting Together All-Member Meeting. It is hybrid. At 6 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Housing Catalyst Employee Appreciation Celebration at Magic Rat Live Music. On Thursday, January 30th at 9 a.m., Commissioners may participate in the Colorado Counties Inc. Steering Committee meetings. Those are hybrid meetings. At 2:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization 10-year priority list workshop. And that is the Weld County Administrative Building. On Friday, January 31st at 7:30 a.m., Commissioners may attend the Colorado Counties Inc. Legislative Breakfast at the Colorado State Capitol Building. At 8 a.m., Commissioner Stevens will attend the Colorado Counties Inc. Board meeting. And then at 9 a.m., Commissioners may attend Colorado Counties Inc. Steering Committee meetings. Those are hybrid meetings. On Saturday, February 1st at 5 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Plymouth Congregational Church 20th Annual Youth for Change Homeless Prevention Benefits. And that is all.
Thank you, Michelle. Any corrections or additions to the calendar? Commissioner Kafalis.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. The only thing is that regarding the Larimer County Sheriff's Office Annual Awards Ceremony, depending on when we get done with our afternoon land use hearing, I'm also hoping to attend at least the tail end of that. Then I have something after that, but it depends on our land use hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, any corrections or additions?
Yes, Michelle, I'm also attending the Overland Mountain Bike Association Appreciation Party on Tuesday, January 29th. And I will be in Estes for some meetings January 30th with the Visit Estes Park, those are, I'll just be in Estes from meetings from, I'm not sure the location yet, from 11 to 5. So,
Is that everything, Commissioner?
yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just have a couple additions, Michelle. I'm also going to try to attend the Sheriff's Office Annual Awards Ceremony on Monday, January 27th, time permitting, if our land use hearing goes quickly. And then I will try to also make it to the Overland Mountain Bike Association Appreciation Party on Tuesday night. And then with regard to the Colorado Counties Inc. Board meeting that was scheduled for January 31st, because of the legislative breakfast, that has been moved to January 30th from 8 to 9 a.m. And that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So our next item is the consent agenda. So I will go through the consent agenda. There's one abatement on the consent agenda, an abatement for refund of taxes that exceeds the allotted refund amount of $10,000. Details to be found online. We have, let's see how many. We have 2 agreements. The first one is a drainage agreement between Larimer County and 126 Bristlecone LLC. This is just what it says, a drainage agreement for stormwater issues. We have the second agreement being a development agreement for McKay Musborn subdivision, file number 22, land 4238. This is a development agreement between the Board of County Commissioners and the McKay Family Limited Partnership. It's a subdivision of 27 acres into 2 residential lots, one being a 12-acre lot and an additional 12-acre lot intended for, both intended for residential uses. Let's see. We have 4 appointments. The first is a recommended reappointment to the Little Valley General Improvement District for Phil Frank for a term that ends on November 30th, 2027. We have a midterm appointment to the Little Valley General Improvement District for Terry Remigio. That term would end November 30th, 2027. Another one, Little Valley has got a lot of appointments this time. We have a reappointment to the Little Valley General Improvement District for Gregory Smith, and his term would end November 30th, 2028. And finally, a recommended appointment to the Greyhawk Knolls Public Improvement District for Ronald Orantia, and his term would end November 30th, 2028. We have one request for a letter of support. This is an Emergency Services DOLA grant revisions letter. So we received a grant from DOLA for $2 million, and this revises the project that was presented before DOLA. So the scope of the project is slightly different. And the letter explains this to DOLA, that there will be the elimination of the north vehicle bays and modifying the east vehicle bays to electric radiant heating, and the balance of the building remains to be the geothermal ground source heat pump system. So wanting to let DOLA know about those changes and supporting those changes. We have one liquor license, that's for Sylvandale Ranch. This is a hotel and restaurant with optional premises liquor license. We have 3 miscellaneous items on the consent agenda. We have the Larimer County legislative positions. Those can be found online and at the Secretary of State's website. We also have a Colorado Counties Incorporated proxy designation. So this designates Heather O'Hare, our Human Services Director, as the Board of County Commissioners proxy for the Colorado Counties Incorporated Health and Human Services Steering Committee, and Shane Atkinson, our Legislative Coordinator, as a proxy for all the other CCI steering committees for the 2025 legislative session. So they'll be able to vote and give input when the 3 commissioners aren't available to do so at those meetings. And finally, there's an application to the Colorado Department of Local Affairs for a local match program. The Office of Emergency Management is applying for a Colorado Department of Local Affairs, which is DOLA, for $750,000 in funding through the local match program. The local match funding may be provided to local governments to support non-federal match requirements when they're applying for federal grant programs stemming from the IIJA, or the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And the Office of Emergency Management is developing a proposal for application to the U.S. Forest Service Community Wildfire Defense Grant Round 3 cycle, and any awarded local match funding may be used to assist with non-federal match requirements. And so the application will be for a $750,000 in match assistance funding. So that's all on our consent agenda. Would either commissioner like to remove something from the consent agenda? Seeing no hands raised, I will ask Commissioner Kafalis to make a motion on this item.
Thank you. I move to approve the consent agenda for January 21st, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. We will move to Commissioner's guests. I don't see any guests in the audience, but no guests this morning. So we do not have any discussion items, so we are flying through the agenda. Our next update is our county manager update. So thank you, Lorinda.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll keep it pretty brief. I did a lot of internal coordination last week and external as well with some of our elected officials. I met with the Treasurer, Irene Josie, and I also met with CSU Extension Front Range Regional Director Carrie Rollins regarding our relationship with CSU in that program through our Extension office. I think I want to draw attention today to the county's private activity bond application period that has opened. Applications are due by March 1st. We have a little over $6.8 million in private activity bonds that you all may assign. And as a reminder, these funds leverage housing for affordable housing projects. These are approved through the IRS. They're Section 141, 150 applicants for government or housing authority or a private sector entity, such as a developer that is partnered with a housing authority or a qualified issuer, may apply for these funds. Again, the deadline is March 1st. And these are significant for development of affordable housing in our community. So I do want to draw attention to that. It is an open application process for those qualified users. You can find information at larimer.gov/housing/partners if you'd like to find the application, or if you just type in private activity bond in the search bar, interested parties can find that information. I think that's all.
Thank you, Lorinda. Any questions for Lorinda? Any comments? Lorinda, those bonds have usually, the application has usually been one of our local housing authorities. Is that correct?
It has been. There, I think one year there was a developer for a very specific housing project that had partnered with a housing authority. But typically it's gone to our housing authorities because those are the folks who apply.
Right, okay. But it is open to anyone who's building affordable housing. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
We'll move on to Commissioner activity reports. We'll start Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all the staff and everyone who has done so much work over the last week. I saw a lot of the work over the weekend with a lot of the activities that I was involved with, and so that was very uplifting and extremely touched my heart for deep gratitude for the work that was done. On Tuesday, it's not March yet, January, I went down with Loveland Mayor Jackie Marsh as she received the Humanitarian Award from the State MLK Commission. It was at Betcher Concert Hall. There was a reception beforehand where all the awardees with their guests were were able to give speeches, and then they were given the awards during the Karo Symphony performance, which had other performers from different church choirs and performers from Denver. And I can't tell you how outstanding the music was. It was just amazing. You feel it in your bones. And a lot of folks came from Loveland and from Larimer County to support the mayor. We saw Dr. Leslie Brooks, one of her dear friends, who is also a psychiatrist from Arapahoe Mental Health, came, and she got an award. So it was great to make some of those connections, and congratulations again to Loveland's Mayor Jackie Marsh for such a prestigious award. On the 15th, I attended the Big Thompson Watershed Health Coalition as they're working through some strategic planning and some, it was a really well-run facilitated process to get feedback from multiple partners. And it was a great conversation about how we go forward and keep working together, because this work is better when we join forces and grant money and collaboration across local governments and nonprofits and other the U.S. State Forest Service and others. It's really important to partner. And then I attended the Commissioners Luncheon where we award staff for reaching that 1 million step mile. I think that's amazing. We do that to encourage our staff to get out and walk and hike and move. And it's always a nice luncheon to intermingle and share. I think I was about 2.5 million steps this year, not my usual pace, but it was a lot of hiking and a lot of just walking through neighborhoods. So it was really kind of fun to be there and celebrate with staff. I attended the first responders night at the Eagles game. Saw a lot of our sheriff's department co-responders, firefighters, others. Got to walk around and thank them for their service. It was really well done to highlight and thank our first responders. A lot of them got I don't know if they're discounted tickets or not, but they were getting to push the buttons and set off the alarms or the opening bells, and it was really exciting to see all of them. They were having a good time. So I get thank you to OVG and the ranch and our director and Blue Arena and the Eagles for all the things they did to make it extra special that night for our first responders. We had our Larimer County Thompson School District Berthoud City of Loveland liaison meeting on Thursday. We start at 7:30. Appreciate all the work staff did to get our food. We were at the Loveland location of it's our opportunity to host this time. We had a lot of really important conversations talking about the recent outcomes of the initiatives on the ballots. Some were successful, some were not. Talking about steps going forward and sharing some good news. It was a really robust conversation, and we had a full house, and I appreciate everyone's engagement. Working on supporting Estes Park and Visit Estes Park as they go forward. We had a Estes Park Planning Advisory Committee meeting, which I just would say they're had a really interesting conversation about accessory living units that will come forward to us as we are discussing this legislative change. And it was interesting to hear some of the comments from folks. I was asked to speak and open at the Loveland, the Thompson School District, City of Loveland, Heart and Soul MLK event for students at Mountain View High School. Really well done, great folks there, and the students were just engaging and very special. And then came up for the art exhibit, for the inmate art exhibit, and that was a fun evening, robust. It's just great to see so many folks doing so many great community events. I had a legislative committee meeting for Forest Health Council. We will be finalizing our recommendations for our Forest Health Council general meeting on February 6th for the 2026 legislative session, which is going to be interesting with budget matters at the state, what we can keep going and what's going forward. And so that's a very interesting conversation. Again, I'm working with Visit Estes Park most of the day on Friday. And then we had the NOCO Partners meeting, which I mostly had folks sending me notes from. I attended the CCAT Natural Resources, Wildfire and Fiscal Reform Committee meeting, which I am now, and I appreciate my colleagues electing me as the chair of that committee. And then I drove to Boulder County, met with some state legislators over some legislation they wanted to share with me, and that was a long evening, but a very productive conversation, and I appreciate their insights and their listening for us. It was really heartfelt, and I appreciate their time. And then we all attended the People's March. It was very cold. There were a lot of speakers, but there was some youth from our community that just wowed me with their speeches. One of them's going to send me their speech. They were just outstanding, well done, and very important speakers, a lot of elected officials, but I have to say I'm now getting a new pair of gloves because I realize my gloves do not keep my hands warm when it's like close to zero. And so those gloves will go for fair weather days. And I got a new pair of gloves because I went out and hiked in Rocky National Park in 0 degrees on Sunday, and those gloves were much better. So I appreciated the nudge to get new glasses. I attended the first People's Festival, which was in Estes Park. I want to thank Nico Strangeowl, who is a descendant of the Salmon Creek Massacre and whose family's trading post on Highway 7, Eagle Plume, has been around for decades. And she lives here in Larimer County, and she helped organize that. Also, Rising Buffalo, who worked for the National Park Service for Rocky Mountain National Park, but has done such a phenomenal job, is now also helping Grand Canyon, and they were there, and so Grand Canyon National Park and Rocky had a booth, and I want to just take note of the amount of community members there, and it was such a warm and welcoming space. I got to meet the artist from the San Domingo Nation who made Ruth Bader, former Justice, who's passed now, but she was Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's color, and got to hear that story and see pictures, and that was really moving for me. And I just wanted to share that because it was great to have them share all of their stories, and they just love Larimer County. Hadn't been really to Estes before, and a lot of folks were hosting them. I think down Loveland and Longmont. So it's great to have them here. And then yesterday we all participated in the CSU Joint Proclamation and MLK ceremony. It was a moving day, the Joint Proclamation. Kudos to Jordan Dunn and Claudia Menendez of Fort Collins and Lori Cadridge. It got a lot of positive feedback from people in the audience. It was a full room about how much they enjoyed seeing the Joint Proclamation read as it was. And then we hung out and talked with folks and when participated in painting another Fort Collins mural project. And I got a Mod Podge, some quotes on and paint, and I was just watching, and I appreciate the staff really encouraging me to actually paint and participate. So that's all I have to share, and just really grateful for the opportunity to get out in the community and do some things to give back. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kafalis, is there anything you'd like to share?
I would like to share one experience that I had. So on Thursday, I had just finished a meeting over at the Fort Collins Engineering Building with our county engineer, Mark, and I was walking him back from the building. He had his car in the parking garage there, and we chatted, and it was very nice. And then I left him, and I was heading to the Global Village Museum for the inmate art exhibit, which is a very excellent exhibit, and people should check out the art that's on the walls. And I know there's another presentation on the 25th that I believe, Commissioner, I think you're going to try to go. In any case, as I was getting ready to go to the Global Village Museum, there was an older fellow who seemed pretty lost and disoriented, somebody who one could tell was homeless. He was pulling a suitcase, and I asked him, if I could help, and he said he was trying to get to the Fort Collins Rescue Mission. That's what the folks on Mason told him he had to go there. And I began to give him directions, but then I thought, that's kind of complicated to get through Old Town to get over to Jefferson. So I thought I would just accompany him, and we took turns pulling his suitcase. He wouldn't let me pull it very much, but he was limping, and it was hard for him, and it took a while. In any event, I'm just grateful to get to know him. We got to know each other, so I think that's important. And we got to the rescue mission, and one of the folks that opened the door, somebody that I happened to know, and I wanted to make sure that he had a bed there that night. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to give eye contact and make contact with another human being. And I think we want to be mindful of folks that are marginalized as we go forward in our country and in our community, how we can be in support of those folks. Thank you. Thanks for listening. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Kafalis. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so I'll just share just a little bit about yesterday, Martin Luther King Day, and I think that your story and Commissioner Shattuck McNally's stories of how we take care of each other in the community are really important. Yesterday is called a day on, not a day off, and so no judgment to people who go skiing or anything, but it is nice to gather in community and to really talk about what's important to us. And I think that was the real value of yesterday. We weren't able to march because of the cold weather for Martin Luther King Day, but we did meet. We saw an amazing hip hop performance by some young people in our community who are extremely talented and fun, and then we heard, some very moving words. And then we did break out into sessions, and one of them, as Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, was painting this mural. But we as commissioners got together in a room and really talked to community members about what was on their mind. And I thought that that was such a nice opportunity. So really wanted to thank Jordan for that opportunity, because we had some really meaningful conversations. We're really able to. Many people honestly didn't know what the county does. So there was a lot of explanation of what the county does, and it was great that Jordan had flyers out on the tables that explained how these meetings work and that people were welcome to come and speak at these meetings. But we really also talked about some of the issues that were on their mind. I talked to people about homelessness, about affordability issues, people that had young people in their lives, children and nieces and nephews that couldn't afford, to live in our community. And so I think that it was great to be conscious of what's on people's minds. These are people we don't necessarily normally connect with, so it was a great opportunity to connect with members of the public who really are engaged, but maybe not at the county level or the city level. And so I just was grateful to have that opportunity, and just the reminders of what our call to action is from Martin Luther King is to do better, to take care of one another, to make sure that we have justice in our communities. And so it was very much alive at the Laurie Student Center yesterday, and I'm grateful to have that experience. So with that, I don't think we have anything else for the meeting. So what a short and nice meeting. So we don't have any legal matters, and I don't believe we have any other business. And so at, let's see, 9:38, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.